4 weeks ago today, my 2-year-old son fell and broke his leg. Poor thing. He's okay now, but we went to the doctor a week later for a checkup at the orthopedic doctor's. And I live in a small town. There's about 23,000 people, of which about 300 are deaf. And there's a deaf school, and so the deaf and the interpreters, we all know each other. However, this doctor's office was new for me, and I was sat in the waiting room for 45 minutes. And not only did I have my 2-year-old son with me, but I had my 1-year-old with me as well. And so you can imagine 45 minutes in a waiting room, they were restless. They wanted to eat lunch, and that long of a wait in a small town was not usual. So the interpreter and I went up to the receptionist, and I said, "Hey, is there a reason for this wait?" And receptionist didn't even look up from her computer and said, "No, sorry, we're backed up." And I said, "Well, my kids are getting pretty restless. Is there any way that you could put us in a room?" And the receptionist said, "Nope, sorry." And I asked, "Maybe could you grab a doctor or a nurse?" And the receptionist, again, still did not make eye contact with me. But a small town in Midwest, eye contact is important. And so I said, "Excuse me, could you please look at me?" So the receptionist looked up and looked at the interpreter. And I said, "No, look at me." And I said, "Could you please offer some kind of solution here? We've been waiting for an hour, and my son needs his medication, which is at home." And the receptionist just said, "Yeah, sorry." And right then, my baby started crying. And that's when the receptionist knew that this was serious. Baby cried on cue. That was good. So finally, they called a nurse over, and the nurse was there instantly and super apologetic, told me they would be with me very soon. And I said, "That's fine, but I would like to file a complaint because the receptionist had a really poor attitude." And the nurse told me she would get in contact with the office manager, and that was good. So I went ahead and sat back down. Shortly after that, I was called again. Well, actually, they called the interpreter up because they said that the interpreter got a phone call. So the interpreter goes up and then immediately waves me over, saying that the phone call's for me. And it is the office manager calling to discuss my complaint about the receptionist. So they started asking me questions, but bear in mind, the receptionist was right there, staring daggers into me. And so I said, "I don't feel comfortable discussing this right now. The receptionist is right there." So the office manager said they would contact me later that afternoon.